This is the plaintiff, Margaret in Delhi. She says she rented an apartment from the defendant, and living in the place was like living in a cesspool. The septic system had major problems and constantly overflowed. There was no heat in the winter, and the defendants didn't take care of anything. She moved out. The defendants threatened her life and then turned around and asked for a sexual favor. Yuck! She's suing for $5,000 for security, pain and suffering, and rent reimbursement. These are the defendants, Chris and Robert Meyer. Chris says this is just another nightmare tenant scenario, and it unfortunately is part of being a landlord. The woman didn't pay her rent, never gave him a security deposit, but could afford a big screen TV, a computer, and nice furniture. Come on. They were definitely scammed by the plaintiff, and certainly don't owe her a thing. They're accused of lackadaisical landlording. The defendants have filed a countersuit for $4,300 for unpaid rent and unpaid security.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Thank you, Douglas. Margaret in Delhi? Yes. You are suing Chris and Robert Meyer?
Yes.
For $5,000, a return of your security deposit, $1,300, as well as $3,700 in pain and suffering. You are counterclaiming against her $4,300 in rent, plus a security deposit that I guess you're saying she never paid.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. What's going on?
Pretty much everything was going fine until about, I'd say, March, when he was locked up and put in jail for other areas of things. He came out of jail, and on May 3rd, I received a text message.
For what?
For he told off a law official.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I didn't mean to go, but
Yeah.
What happened?
He threatened an attorney.
I had a binding arbiter who hadn't done anything for a year and a half regarding my estate from a divorce.
Okay, so you sent them a letter saying what?
You only have one option, and one option
and
only.
then he took that
He
as
took that
threatening?
and said, yes, he said that was a
So
threat.
you got charged with a crime?
Yeah, knock on my door the next day after he filed it. He's a lawyer. He went to the prosecutor,
Okay.
and they extradited me there, and I pled not guilty, and now we're going to go to a trial.
I actually wrote...
All right, okay, so let's get to your case. I was just curious.
On May 3rd, he came out of jail. He wanted rent. He wanted to raise it more than what it was. Yes, he did work with me at one point and lowered the rent to $800.
Okay, how much were you paying him rent when you moved?
$1,300 a month.
Okay.
And I gave him $1,300 in security deposit, and I have the pay stub from my job because the job actually gave me...
Do you have a receipt for the $1,300 security deposit?
He wouldn't give me a receipt.
Then don't give him the money.
He's saying he's like a stand-up guy.
What do you mean stand-up guy? Who does this? Do you watch the People's Court? I've been saying this for 13 years. It's very simple. May I have a receipt? No, I refuse. Well, then I refuse to give you $1,300. And then you stand there until somebody grabs the nearest crayon and the nearest roll of toilet paper and write down, I hereby agree that you gave me $1,300. Do you have a lease?
Yes.
Does a lease say that you gave a security deposit?
I have the check stub from my job that gave me the $1,000. I gave him $1,000 from a check from my company that gave me it. The case number is also there.
Well, then do you have, so your Starbucks paid $1,000 to help you out as a young employee.
They gave me a check for $1,000 to give to him.
Okay, got that. So how much did you give him when you moved in?
We gave him $1,625 exactly on August 25th.
Okay. And you have no receipts?
He wouldn't give me
But
any.
and you didn't insist on any?
No, the thing was, he said he would give me a receipt.
Stop. No matter how fast you talk, do you have any proof of what you're saying? No.
Just this.
All right, okay. This is a letter that he sends to you that says, enclosed is your copy of the lease agreement. You need $1,950 to get in.
That's what she needed.
August 19th. On August 22nd, yes. I see that Starbucks cut her a $1,000 check.
Your Honor, she needed that letter to give to Starbucks.
Okay.
What she did with the $1,000 afterwards, okay, she didn't give it to us.
Why don't you give receipts? If you gave receipts, then I'd say to her, well, prove it. Show me receipts.
We should have insisted on checks.
I know. When you don't, then I have a match between two people, each of them saying, did two, did not, did two, did not.
I understand, Your Honor.
Right.
We haven't had that problem in the past. And so, you learn from your mistakes. I felt bad for him, young couple. It was one sob story after another, and that's our fault.
So you say she never paid a security deposit, and you say you did. And then what happens?
And then what happens is also the issues with the apartment. In beginning of mid-January, I brought it to his attention that there was something wrong with the heat. He comes downstairs, he says, oh, there's nothing wrong with it. I have the receipt to go out that it's a dummy thermostat. It's not real. He was
Okay.
saying that I controlled the heat from my apartment.
What do you mean?
That's-
What do you mean? Just a moment, sir.
It doesn't work.
What do you mean you have a receipt? What is
A
that?
receipt that I went out and actually had to buy a heater for the whole, because he never addressed the issue. He came downstairs. He said, "Oh,
Okay.
I don't believe you." So I went out and bought a heater to heat the
A
apartment.
space heater? Okay, that's not proof that that's a dummy thermostat.
Well, no, I'm just saying that.
Did you
because-
have somebody come out and say this is a dummy thermostat? Did somebody?
Yeah, the town.
Okay,
Yeah, the
the
town.
town.
I called the town. The town is.
No, you're gonna get, see. I know you're gonna give me a business card or somebody. No, I want like something written by the town that says this is a dummy heater.
Well, no. See, what happened is like the town just came out on Wednesday, and I did call to see if they
Wednesday?
Yeah, this past Wednesday. Finally, I was been calling them.
Wait,
forever.
wait. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the point. And she wants her.
That's the problem.
They haven't
Wait,
even
wait,
moved out.
wait.
We're trying
You're
to evict
still
her.
there?
Yes, that's our
How
problem.
are you gonna get a security deposit back when you're still living there?
That's the moot point.
The thing about that, this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but your whole lawsuit is comprised of two things. One is I want my security deposit back.
That's all I wanted.
You haven't moved out. Do you understand what a security deposit means?
I gave him my 30-day notice.
I don't care. Do you know what security deposit means? What does it mean?
It means that it's a deposit holding on the
Just
house.
in case what?
In case anything happens.
As in what?
Damages.
When you what?
When I
Move
vacate
out
the apartment, yeah.
between now and then. Why would a judge make a landlord return to you a security deposit when you haven't left yet?
Well, I understand that, and I've been trying to leave, and I
Plus, according to you, she hasn't paid rent in 3 months.
yeah.
That's correct.
Except, but see,
Right. So what will make you think you're going to see your security deposit?
but see, that's the thing. That's not even the point anymore. I'm done. I'm done. I let that go. The fact of the matter, though.
So why are you here? I
I
understand.
found-
I understand. You have an eviction case filed against her.
Yes.
That I understand. His lawsuit, I totally understand. It's yours, the one that I don't understand. Why did you come?
Because every time I was calling the cops, he was harassing me.
Oh, tell me about that.
It started the night that I told him, I gave him a legit 30-day notice. I said, Chris, I can no longer afford the apartment. When he got out of jail, he goes, well, you still need to pay me the rent. From that point on, it was
Wait,
harassment.
how much is your rent?
It was $1,300 when I first moved there. And then I'd say maybe mid-February, he lowered it to $800 to give me a break. He did do that. And then in May, when he got out of jail, my internet was shut off, my cable was shut off, he shut my water off.
Tell me about the harassment.
The harassment is he's asked me for sexual favors.
Oh, come on.
Okay.
He's 50 years old. I'm 27.
Come on.
Okay, the first night that it happened and I told him that I was going to be leaving, he came to my door at 12 o'clock at night. My girlfriend walks up. He's standing at my front door. And then she freaks out and she goes, what can I do for you, Chris? And he's like, oh, I was just getting some chairs. I was just getting something. And we're like, what are you doing on our deck? He's like, well, I was just wondering if we can fix this, work this out. And I said, no, Chris, there's no fixing it. I said, I told you I can't afford it. This is it. I was like, I have to go. I'm not trying to cause problems. All I want to do is give you my 30-day notice. I want to collect my security deposit when I leave. And
How would you? But what I don't understand is why would you think you collect your security deposit if you're 3 months behind in the rent?
I wasn't 3 months behind. I was like, I told you,
last
the May
payment
3rd
was-
was
Just a moment.
the May 3rd was the last time I gave him the 325 is when the same day I gave him my 30-day notice.
And have you paid since then?
No.
Okay. Now,
that's because
how
of
do
that-
you? Why are you saying that he asked you for sexual favors? Because he came to your place at midnight and said, "I needed chairs."
No. He would come down. He has a problem with alcohol, and he would come down to my house drunk and be like, "Oh, do you ever feel like bat?" Obviously, like he said, I'm with a female. He always asked me, "Did you want to bat for the other team? If you ever want to bat for the other team, please let me know." If you ever need a shoulder or somebody to cry to, I'm here with you. Stuff like that. And he would make gestures like that about sexual, things.
Okay.
And he is going through a divorce. I don't know what his deal is, but like I said, the harassment did start the same night. The same night that I gave him my 30-day notice. As he was going upstairs, he was literally stomping on the ceiling, blaring his music. On Memorial Day weekend, he got a $500 noise summons because he left his radio on and decided not to shut it off. I called the cops. He got a $500 summons and then
Is
tried
that
to
true?
say I
It's
broke
not
into his
$500
house.
summons that I see here, but I came home, my music was on. I was not home the entire day.
Yes.
The back door was left open. We always leave it open.
By the way,
I
Somebody
called-
went in and turned your radio
I
on?
do believe so, and I called the police. I got them to come down, and this is a letter from them.
Let me see the letter from them and let me see the summons.
But at the same time, I want you to know that this same day that he wasn't supposedly home, I have the police report from the same day that he shut my hot water off when I was in the middle of a shower. The first time on Memorial Day, the cops came, he fled. They saw, the cops even seen him fled on his bike because he's trying to say that someone broke into the house. He told the cop, the night that the Memorial Day, when he said that someone broke into his house, he told them, I heard him clear as day because you can hear through the window that doesn't open, that I will go downstairs and kill them right now. And then when the cop said, yeah, buddy, go pay your fine, he told him to shut the...
Just give me the police report that says all that.
And
because if a police officer hears a guy say, I'm going to go down there and kill them, I would think the police officer would record it.
I would think the same thing. And I asked the police the same question, and they told me that was a third-party threat.
Okay.
But I do have all the police reports.
Describe the place you're living in. Like what? Okay. Well, you said that you called the city or the county or whatever.
The town.
The town, and
yeah.
they went.
It's an illegal apartment.
How many families live there? You guys and him?
It's a high ranch. I live on the bottom part of the ranch, and he lives on the top.
Do you have your own kitchen?
Nope.
Is this zone 2 family?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Do you think it's illegal, a crime, for a landlord to ask a tenant for sexual favors?
Absolutely.
Why do you say?
Because you're basically negotiating something that somebody doesn't want to give if they're unwilling and they don't want to do it, and it's just not right.
Okay, suppose a landlord just comes on to a tenant. Is it illegal for a landlord to come on to a tenant?
No, it's not illegal, but it is illegal to do it. But it's not illegal to come on to a tenant. You might like that person, but...
Yeah. But so what about asking for sexual favors, especially if it's in return for, say...
Absolutely not. I think it's illegal.
What do you think it is?
I think it's abuse of power, abuse of authority.
Here's the deal. Maybe what it is prostitution, because you're asking somebody to get for basically it's like paying for something for sex, right?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Boom.
Right.
How about that?
Boom.
That's why I'm a lawyer.
That's right.
There you go. Going inside the courtroom.
Is this zone 2 family? Do you have a CO to rent the bottom floor out?
No, I don't.
So it's illegal?
Yes.
Okay, let me explain to you. This is called cause and effect, okay? All right. I sell you drugs. You buy the drugs. You don't pay me for the cocaine I sold you. I go to court and I say, I demand payment for my cocaine. They breach the contract. What does the judge do? Send you away, right? Because you cannot use the long arm of the law to help you collect something you have no right to collect. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. Okay. Number 1, you cannot, as a tenant, sue for a security deposit, which I'm not sure whether you paid or didn't pay, but luckily for me, I don't even have to worry about it because you can't sue for a security deposit before you moved out. So that issue is dismissed without prejudice for you to bring it up after you move out. Okay?
Okay.
You cannot, I guess your pain and suffering is that he's stomping?
No, it's the harass. It's like just it's everything.
Yeah, I didn't give you a chance to respond to that. Do you want to respond to her allegations that you told her if you ever want to bat for the other team?
Yeah, that's not true, Your Honor. I know she's, has a life partner, and we bent over backwards. We let them move in, even though they didn't have the money. Then her life partner, Karen, was going to move back to Florida in early February. She couldn't make the rent. I temporarily lowered it to $800. Yes, it was that way. She said, I can't do it, but I have another job I'm getting at night. I think it was like at a Pep Boys or something. Can you just give me a break for this month? Yes, okay. Then Karen never left. So here comes April. In April, we go back and say, we have to go back up to the $1,300. She's using utilities, et cetera, and she never left. And the whole reason I did this was because it was just going to be you paying the rent. And at that point, she said, no, I'm not doing anything. And that was mid-April, and hasn't paid anything since then.
Were you accepting rent weekly? Is that what
Yes.
We were supposed to have...
Did you ever talk to her?
No.
I'm sorry, you were Robert Meyer?
Yes.
Okay, did you ever talk to her or no? Everything you know is because your son told you or?
No,
I mean, I have talked to her, but a lot of this, I'm
Right.
some of her claims, I'm not aware of at all.
I then We went to weekly because she couldn't do the monthly up
Right.
front. I mean, we bent over backwards. We
No,
did everything we could, and they're taking advantage of us.
She mentioned that she gave me $325. They were never giving me $325. They were giving me $200 a week for
Since
the
February.
$800.
Since February.
So what she's saying,
Okay.
I even
on
have
that part,
a text saying she's 3 payments behind.
Acknowledging that she's 3 payments
Yes.
behind.
Yes.
Okay, but here are the problems that we're having, and let me just go over each of your cases. Number one, as to you, you cannot sue for a security deposit when you're still living there. Move out and then sue.
Oh,
that
trust me, I'm
count
trying.
is dismissed without prejudice. As for pain and suffering, which is what you're saying you had to endure, did you cut off her internet?
The internet's still there. I don't know
Okay.
what she's talking about. It's a wireless
Did you
internet.
cut off her hot water?
No, that I never did. There's no way to cut off the hot water to that part of the house.
Because you don't even have that sectioned off, like the two.
No, there's no shut-off valves.
All right, and then
Also,
your lawsuit against her is for April rent, May rent, June rent, right? Because you can't come to me to help you collect rent on an illegal apartment.
She has a stove.
I don't care.
Okay.
It's illegal. Do you get what I'm putting down? You got it,
I
right?
understand that.
Okay, you guys understand.
take
So
umbrage
as for
with
your
your-
lawsuit
yeah.
against her, the answer is 0. And as for her lawsuit against you, the answer is I'm dismissing without prejudice the security deposit. You can try to prove it to another judge when the case is ripe. And as for your pain and suffering, I find that you haven't proven to me, other than the fact that you guys hate each other, that you are entitled to $3,700 in pain and suffering. Get out.
I am.
Are you still with your partner?
Yes, unfortunately she couldn't be here today because of work, but I do have.
Yeah,
the
well,
police
you know
report.
what? Tell her to take the day off the
Yeah,
next
oh,
time.
yeah, I know.
And not to leave
I
you
know.
hanging, okay?
I know.
All
I
right,
know.
that's my judgment. Good luck, folks.
So because of the reasons Judge Milian explained, she can't rule for you. You understand this ruling?
Absolutely.
Right? And couldn't rule for him either for other reasons, which we'll discuss with him. What is your next move now?
My next move is just to never deal with a guy like him again.
About moving out. When are you
And
going
that
to
too.
move out?
I'll
Today?
be out. Yeah, I probably will be out today.
Tonight?
I'm done.
All right. Where are you going to live tomorrow?
If I have to live in my car, anywhere to get away from this menace.
All right. And at that point, you can then sue for your security.
Absolutely.
Good luck with all that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So she didn't get anything and neither did you?
No.
What's your feeling on the outcome here?
Well, disappointed. This has been a nightmare. I was kind of shocked by her allegations today, which I didn't know about.
How can you ask the judge to enforce an illegal contract?
Well, when we went to court in New York, it wasn't an issue of whether it was legal or not.
Well, now you know it is.
Right.
Harvey?
You know, in many states, it's not only illegal for a landlord to cut off electricity and water, a landlord can be socked with civil penalties where a tenant can sue for all sorts of damages. So bad idea for landlords. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.